The 31st of January, Rabbi Furst, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi Bo.
And thank you, Lou. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shlomo First here, Yishalayim, here of Zoom, and here of Shabbos, Parshas Bo, Shana Tafshin, hey, hey. Okay, Parshas Bo. Um, let's begin. Uh, okay. Oh, we can start here.
Are you planning on giving me input for the newsletter?
Ah, um, I'll have to see. I didn't really put my mind to that. Let me, if I can do something within a half an hour after we finish, I'll send it to you. Okay. If not, I guess go ahead without me this week.
Okay, that's a good plan.
All right. I'll see what I can do. President, thank you for asking. Um, okay. Let's start with the beginning of Parak Yud Base.
Base. Okay, let's see. And Hashem said to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be for you the beginning of the months. It shall be for you the first of the months of the year. More?
Let's see, Rashi.
Okay. Rashi says, Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron because Aaron carried out and exerted himself over the wonders like Moshe. Hashem accorded him this honor on the occasion of the first commandment by including him with Moshe when he spoke. In the land of Egypt.
One sec. Let's think about that. What what's Rashi's saying something which you don't see from the pasuk, right?
That this was the first commandment?
Well, that okay, that you may know or not know, but Rashi's really dealing with Aaron over here, right?
Well, why does it say he spoke to Moshe and Aaron?
Right.
Well, we see that in the pasuk that he said Moshe and Aaron.
But
We know
apparently,
that
okay,
Aaron
go ahead.
exerted himself and was involved in all in the plagues. Aaron and Moshe went together to Paro. We know that. I'm not sure what it is you're referring to that we don't know from the pasuk.
So, well, Rashi's trying to explain something here that not every time did Hashem speak to both Moshe and Aaron. Many times he spoke with them both, but in general, Hashem I think, was speaking directly to Moshe without the inclusion of Aaron. Here,
Right.
Aaron is included.
Yeah.
Rashi explains why.
Because Aaron was very involved in what was going on.
Right. The Shilsha Aaron also he did the Torah. Mopsim with the wonders, Kim Moshe, like Moshe.
Right.
So is this like a reward?
It was an honor. Is it a reward? Well, I suppose, yeah, it is. I mean, if Hashem spoke to me, I'd feel that it was a reward. I would feel that that was a privilege, that Hashem honored me by saying I was worthy to be spoken to. Yeah, I think so.
No, we don't. I don't think we really think Aaron was really interested in that, right?
Um,
That wasn't
well, we don't see that he was selfishly, seeking that honor.
right. Um, well, Sheklalo in Moshe bedibur. Sheklalo in Moshe bedibur. It was included in he was included in the statement along with Moshe.
Right,
So I think the honor that Aaron is getting here is this is now this is as Rashi mentioned the first mitzvah, and so it's an honor for Aaron to be included in the statement of the first mitzvah that Klal Yisrael is going to get. So
right.
more than that is the fact that it's written here. I think that it's pointing out that fact that it's written here in the Torah in this way.
Yeah,
That's the covenant of Aaron. That he's mentioned here in this verse. The fact that he's mentioned here in this verse is a honor for Aaron.
right.
So at least two things. I mean, we always try and relate what the Torah is teaching us to ourselves, right?
Right,
When you see, let's say somebody you're involved with something, and somebody helps you, right?
yeah,
Certain project, certain job. So since they were helping you out, it's um it's befitting that you give them some credit as well.
right.
People have a tendency to want to take credit for themselves, right?
Yeah,
And so when you're going to give credit to somebody else to help you with a certain project, certain job, so a person has to go against their nature to do that. Really, in most cases, we would want to keep all the credit for ourselves.
Okay.
But since someone helped us, well, the Torah is teaching you it's it's part of his honor that you should also give him some credit as well.
Okay.
So, and when you're doing that, it's not simply that you're going against your natural tendencies, but you're emulating a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is something which a Kadosh Baruch Hu did. So this is part of emulating a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Right.
So for Aaron's own covet, I don't think it's necessary for Aaron's own covet, but for the lesson to teach us, right? The fact that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to honor Aaron as well, that's a big lesson. Okay,
That we should honor
let's continue on with it.
something.
Yeah, someone's assisting you. You have an assistant. You should give him credit and honor as well.
Right. Makes sense.
But as I said, they have to go against your normal inclinations. It's not so always easy to do that. People like to, as I said, people like to take credit for themselves. Okay, Barrett, you try. Let's see the next part of the Rashi.
Okay, so outside the city. Um, so when it says Hashem spoke to them in the land of Egypt, Rashi's telling us that means outside of the city. Or did this rather take place within the city? To teach us otherwise, the verse says, when I will leave the city, etc. Now, if Moshe would not pray a minor prayer inside the city, all the more so significant speech could not be delivered within the city. And for what reason should he not communicate with him inside the city? Because it was full of idols. Let me read that again. I'm a little
Right.
confused what he's saying here. In the land of Egypt, this
Mm.
commandment was given to Moshe and Aaron outside the city. Or maybe not. Maybe it was inside the city. Teach us that it was not inside the city. Uh, it says, when I will leave the city, etc. That's coming from 9:20, from chapter 9, verse 29.
That we're taking a look at the pasuk over there. That was, I think, last week Parsha, no? 9:29.
9:29. Okay, let's look at that. 9:29. Moshe said to him, he's talking to Paro. So Moshe said to Paro, when I leave the city, I shall spread out my hands to Hashem. The thunder will cease and the hail will no longer be. So you shall know that the earth is Hashem's. The Rashi on this pasuk 29 says, when I leave the city, the phrase es ha'ir means from the city. But he did not pray inside the city because it was full of idols. Okay. All right, so that's where we established this fact. So Moshe says, when I leave the city, I'll pray, and then the plague will end. And now it says, Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron outside the city, in the land, and Rashi says that means outside the city. Um, uh, and the way how we know that is because we learned from Pasuk 29 that the city is full of idols, and therefore Moshe can't pray inside the city. It says now, if Moshe would not pray a minor prayer inside the city, all the more so significant speech. So the significant speech is what he's telling Aaron. No, the significant speech is what Hashem is telling Moshe and Aaron in verse 2. And that could not be delivered in the city, because Hashem also is not going to speak in the city because of the idols.
Right. So first of all, is Rashi answering it? Rashi poses a question, and does Rashi we get the understand that Rashi's answering the question?
I think so, yeah. He poses the question, why does it say outside the city? Why is it a problem to speak inside the city? And we see that Hashem did speak inside the city when he said to Moshe, speak to Paro. So that seems to be a contradiction, I think, a little bit.
Give me 1 second. Why you understand it to be contradictory?
Well, when Moshe comes to Egypt, Hashem says lots of things to him.
Right.
Now, I don't know. I always assumed that he spoke to him in the city. Maybe not. Maybe he. I guess it's not clear where he's located when Hashem speaks to him.
That's true. The Torah didn't really describe where and how.
Yeah, so I guess that's not necessarily a problem. So he says Hashem spoke in Eretz Yisrael, and Rashi says, and that means outside the city, because Hashem wouldn't speak inside the city because there's too many idols in there.
Right.
Okay. So I guess on the face of it, now that Hashem has decided to speak, he's going to do it outside the city. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, so what was bothering me? Let's see. Let's see. Back to your bet. Um, what was bothering me? It's a place into the city. No, because can't play in the city because so yeah, Rashi is answering a couple of questions actually. Why does it say he spoke to Moshe and Aaron? That's a question. Why and Aaron? And the answer is because he was honoring Aaron for his involvement, his steadfast involvement. And the second question is why does it say uh, chutz la'aretz, outside the land, meaning Egypt? Because Hashem did not speak to them inside the city in Egypt because there's too much idol worship going on over there. So he speaks outside the city.
Right.
I suppose you could ask, well, but wait a second, maybe you shouldn't speak to him even anywhere in Egypt. Egypt, the whole country was immersed in idol worship.
Right.
Maybe Hashem should say, "Hey, you guys got to come out to the wilderness when I speak to you."
Right. I mean, I mean, part of what you're asking is, I mean, well, I think we have to really, I'm not sure we can do it right now, but it's something we should try at one point or another, try and understand a little bit more. Well, why is this when Hashem's, look, Hashem can do anything he wants. Why should Hashem not want to speak to Moshe where there's all this avodah zarah going on?
No, it would seem to me that um, Adarabba, that's where we need Hashem. Where the idol worship is, that's where we need Hashem to be fighting against it, giving us chizuk to resist.
Right. Um, well, again, he's not like Pershwell is coming to Moshe Rabbeinu, so I don't know how that's going to give the rest of the Klal Yisrael. Whether Moshe Rabbeinu is hearing from Hashem in the city, outside the city, right? Not that they're going to get a direct communication from Hakadosh Baruch Hu, right?
I'm sorry, I'm not following. What's the point you're raising here?
No, why should it? How would it? I sensed what you were saying that somehow it would be beneficial for Klal Yisrael if Hashem did speak to Moshe Rabbeinu amongst all the avodah zarah. I'm not sure how that would work.
Oh yeah, that is what I'm saying. What do you mean you're not sure how that would work? Hashem should. I mean, Hashem speaking to humans is, in any case, a big deal. When Hashem, causes a burning bush. Um, uh, Hashem, it appears in a cloud, and thunder and lightning, and different scenarios we see at different times when Hashem speaks. Now
Right.
here we don't really see necessarily a lot of fanfare. Um, it's not really specified what does it mean when it says Hashem spoke to Moshe. Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron. Um, was there a big deal about that? Was there a cloud? Was there a fire? Was there, all that stuff? Or did Hashem just quietly, Moshe was standing there and he heard a noise and he looked around and he heard Hashem speaking to him. Um,
Right.
if that's the case, if it's the latter case, then so what does it matter whether he's in Egypt or, not, or in the city or not in the city? We know that there's all this idol worship going on. So what? Hashem is fighting against it. He's got his tachlis. He's got his reason for why he's speaking in his presence.
Yeah, but how's huh. I mean, right? Look, it's a private thing, but between Moshe Rabbeinu and Kadosh Baruch, Hashem's talking to Moshe. So privately, no one else is witnessing or hearing this.
Right. Right. So why can't he say it in the city then?
Yeah, that's right. It's not.
Unless he's trying to teach something by example that we don't that we have to keep ourselves far away from idols worship.
I'll tell you, I have another difficulty that the first pasuk that Rashi cites over in chapter 9:29,
Yeah.
that as Rashi says himself, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to daven. He wanted to pray to Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Right.
So that I can understand. Everywhere Moshe Rabbeinu is going to turn, there's going to be another voters or another idol. Can't daven under those circumstances.
Right.
But here Hashem is talking to Moshe Rabbeinu. So why can't Hashem communicate with Moshe anywhere? I mean, in theory he can, definitely so. When Moshe's doing something, for Moshe to pray in a place that's full of Avodah Zarah, so that's very difficult. But that Hashem should be bothered not to want to communicate to Moshe when there's a Avodah Zarah around.
There's a logistics question here also. How does Hashem arrange that Moshe and Aaron are together outside the city for him to speak to them. If he can't say to Moshe, go outside the city with Aaron so I can speak to you, because now he's speaking to him inside the city to say that. Um, how does it arranged?
Right. Meaning, if there's, you're asking if there's no, if it's not possible to communicate, so how do they know anything about what has to take place?
Right, right. Unless
So,
unless Moshe, says, well, look, Aaron, we don't know when Hashem's going to want to talk to us. Uh, so we better make a habit of, each day at a certain time we'll get together, we'll go outside the city and we'll see if Hashem wants to talk.
right. So I think the answer to that question is, if you look at the expression that Rashi uses here, right? The fi shahaisa mole gilulim, since it was filled with idols, dibur chomer kazeh. What's this expression, dibur chomer kazeh?
Where are you reading this?
Yeah, it's in the Rashi.
In the Rashi on Pasuk 1?
Yeah.
Dibur, let's see. I see nidbar imo betoch ha ha hakarach uh, lefi shehaisa mal'a uh, gelulim. I don't see what you're referring to, Rabbi.
It says here the fi shahaisa mole gilulim, right? The very last words of that of the Rashi.
Right? Lefi shehaisa mal'a gelulim, because that it was full of idols.
Yeah. What else does it say?
That's all it says. That's the end.
Really? I
You
have
have
more in
more?
my Rashi. Yeah. Dibur chomer kazeh. Lo kol shekeh?
No, I don't see that.
Oh,
Uh,
really? What edition of the Rashi are you using there?
it's the art scroll.
That's with Rashi, or that's just like a summary of the Rashis?
I know. I think it's the whole Rashi.
Uh, One second. I can try and get a copy here. One second. Yeah, one here in Yeshiva.
I thought this was the whole Rashi. It doesn't say abridged. It says the Torah with Rashi's commentary, translated, annotated, and elucidated. Shaperstein edition, art scroll.
One second. Hold on. I know it seemed to have some of it. It was a little bit difficult to navigate through all the different words they had there. You have they have the Hebrew Rashi. Read their Hebrew Rashi. You have their Hebrew Rashi there.
Yeah. Let's see. Hebrew Rashi on Aleph. Um, let's see. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe ve'el Aharon be'eretz Mitzrayim chutz likrach o eno ella betoch hakrach uh, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's within the krach, within the city. Uh, Talmud Lomar uh, Kazasi Es Ha'ir. The Torah teaches us Ktsesi Es Ha'ir. When I leave the city, Begomer, etc. La'el, look above at 929. That's where we looked. Uma tefillah kala. And now, if Moshe would pray a minor prayer, lo hispalel, he would not pray betoch hakrach, within the city. Dibor chamur, more significant speech. Lo kol shechein, is it not even more so?
Right. That's the Dibur Chomer. Yep, that's the Dibur Chomer. Right. A more weighty, more significant speech or conversation, if you prefer. Even more so.
Umipnei ma, and for what reason, lo nidbar, should he not communicate amo with him, betoch hakrach, within the city, lefi shehaisa mal'ah gululim, because it was full of idols. And now there's one more thing in the Hebrew that's not in the English, which says Mechilta Aleph, but that's in the foot.
Right,
And then it goes on to Bet.
right,
It doesn't have anything more.
right. But it does explain it about being a Dibur Chomer, right? Dibur Chomer, a
Right.
more serious word, a more serious word.
Right. More significant speech.
Right. Um, yeah. It I mean, it could be. I mean, I kind of seems a bit different to me. I mean, the uh, the daven in a place of idols is one thing. To get a communication from a Baruch Hu, um, look, I mean, uh, if I'm not mistaken, I think Hakadosh Baruch Hu has been speaking to Moshe many times previously in the midst of the city.
That's what I was thinking.
Something special about this one.
I mean, when Moshe goes to Paro, because Moshe and Aaron went to Paro, and Hashem says to Moshe, do X, Y, and Z. Isn't he standing in the palace at that time when Hashem says that to him? And isn't there idols all around the palace?
I would say so. I would think so. Right. I think it has to do with the significance of this, like being the first mitzvah, right? The first mitzvah that Hashem is going to command Klal Yisrael. I would think maybe it had to be done in a place free of idols, and we shouldn't come to make a mistake and think, well, maybe Akash Baruch Hu used one of the idols to be the messenger for this mitzvah, something like that.
Hey, Vay, Chas v'sholom.
You're right, Chas v'sholom. You don't know how crazy people can start thinking.
Right. Or maybe it's just because this is so significant. The main mitzvah of the Torah, introducing us to the holiday of Pesach. This is the first month. This is the first of the months. And Rashi comments on the first pasuk of Breshis, and he asks, why doesn't the Torah start with this is the first of the months?
Right. This is where really this is exactly this is where the Torah really should have started according to that first Rashi exactly.
So maybe it's because it's so significant, so important, that he has to go outside the city. But other less significant communications can take place in the city.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, and they actually apparently they did. Hashem was apparently communicating with Moshe within the city many times. Apparently,
Right.
so I think that's indicated by Rashi with these words Chomer Zeh, this Dibur Chomer, this very serious statement. Right? This very serious statement. Want to be it wants it should be done in a place free of all avodah zorah. And I think we can safely say that's a good shot. I think.
But there's a kind of a kol vachomer here. Now, if Moshe would not pray a minor prayer inside the city, all the more so significant speech.
Right.
So that implies that he didn't speak even a minor prayer inside the city.
That's right. When he went to pray, right? When that's that first pasuk there in chapter 9, that when Moshe went out to pray, he prayed outside the city.
Right. That was when he was praying to end the plague.
Right.
So maybe Moshe never davened to Hashem inside the city. He always went outside.
Apparently.
But Hashem did speak to him inside the city when it was necessary.
Apparently, right. Correct. Um,
So the Kal Vachomer doesn't seem to fit really because we're not talking about the same thing. We're talking about Moshe talking to Hashem, and we're talking about Hashem talking to Moshe. And now we're
right.
establishing that those are different.
Yeah, they're not exactly parallel comparisons.
Right.
Yeah. So, so I guess we have to say it's not a strict kal v'chomer, meaning it's just showing you that when when Moshe Rabbeinu on his own was going to pray, right? So he felt the necessity of being out of the environment of avodah zorah. So here when it came time for speaking this first central mitzvah for Klal Yisrael, uh, even more so it should be done in a place where um, it's clean from all tomb and defilement.
Right.
Um, that's what it seems to be. I think that's a fairly good explanation. Um, there are those that ask about this Kal Vachomer. Um, what's the
Uh-huh. What do they ask?
let me see. I'm just looking at it right now. One second. There's Yesh Lahavi Ma Kol V'Chomer who's there. What is this Kol V'Chomer? Adrabah, it says it works the opposite way. No senis Nishum Shehu Dibra Chomer Enu Machazika Lo Tumas Galulim. All right, says a little bit differently. Okay, I mean, yes, they go into a little bit of a question in terms of halacha that that divrei Torah aren't makabel tuma. Yeah, I would say, and maybe that could be the parallelism of the. Let's look at this. What's the parallelism of the Kol V'Chomer? Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Let's say he went out of the city to pray, so it shouldn't look has to show him that he's praying to any of the avodah zorahs. He turns to his left, there's an avodah zorah. Turns to his right, there's another idol. Right? Puts his eyes up. There's some kind of idol hanging from the ceiling. Right? Everywhere there's idols everywhere. How could he can't daven anywhere. Anywhere he turns, he's gonna be looking. It's gonna seem as if he's praying to an idol. Has to show him. Right?
Right.
So if when Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be davening to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, it shouldn't look as if he's has to show him davening to an idol. So I had to go outside the city. So now when Hashem wants to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu, and especially as you mentioned, give him this very serious first mitzvah, the very first mitzvah that Rashi mentioned in the beginning of Chumash, that this is the place where the Chumash really should begin, right? It shouldn't appear, has v'sholom, that this communication is coming to Moshe through any type of an idol.
Right.
So the Kol V'Chomer would work like this. In short, when Moshe Rabbeinu is davening, it can't look like he's davening to an idol, Hashem. So then when Hashem is speaking, right, Kol V'Chomer, it shouldn't look as if the message is coming through an idol, Hashem.
Right. But
That
then,
would that would
was it that Hashem can speak to Moshe in the palace?
oh so there, that's why Rashi mentions Dibur Chomer, a very serious, a very significant message here. This is a very significant message. Obviously, anything Hashem is going to say to Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be significant, but this being the very first mitzvah of the Torah, right? It shouldn't there shouldn't be any possibility of anyone saying, it probably came through one of these idols there, one of the Egyptian idols.
Right.
Therefore, he had to go outside the city.
Right.
All right, I'm pretty happy with that explanation.
But have you explained how it works that he can talk to him in the palace? Maybe Paro could have said could have turned to his idol and said, "What are you saying, Mr. Idol?" When Hashem speaks to Moshe and says, tell Aaron to throw on your staff. Paro could turn to his idol and say, "What did you say, Mr. Idol? You want him to throw down his staff? Why you want that?"
Right. So I mean, it's true. It's true. If they wanted to look for those excuses, they could probably find them, right? But we didn't have to be so careful about such minor type of things. So even if they thought about that, and they could think maybe that's a possibility, so it wouldn't be so significant. But this, the very first mitzvah of the Torah, Kiddush HaChodesh, Korban Pesach, everything, right? Had to be much more careful about it.
Right. Right.
All right. Uh, maybe think about it some more. Maybe come up with some other ideas.
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi. Have a great Shabbos.
Thank you too. And let's see. You said you sent me the email about you going on vacation. You'll be going away when? Were you leaving?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
You said you're going to be going away?
Yeah. Emir Hashem, my great nephew is having a bar mitzvah on the 8th of February.
Huh.
So we're going to Los Angeles to celebrate that bar mitzvah,
Very nice. Very nice.
and we're going to be there for about 5 days. And then while we're there, we're gonna go to Hawaii and have a
Okay.
little vacation in Hawaii. We'll be in Hawaii for 9 days. So
Okay,
the
very good.
total trip will be 14 days, 2 weeks.
All right, very nice. You think you can see Milton Simon when you're there?
Oh yeah, we're planning on it. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so if you remember, give him my regards.
Okay, we'll do.
Hope he's doing well. And okay, fine. So I'll see you next week, a few days next week already. So that'll be okay.
Couple of days next week. Yeah, yeah. I'll be here Monday and Tuesday. I'll be in Mitzvah Hashem. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I'll be in on Zoom.
Very nice. Okay. Very good. Have a good Shabbos, and hope to see you next week, Mirza Hashem.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Shalom, bye. Be well. Bye.